Obadiah trying to wake up the ref now. Spank has been pinned for a full 10 seconds. People are throwing. A new ref emerged and counted him out. Are you kidding me?
Well, you're probably wondering how I got here. Well, you see, I got a lot of explaining to do. Well, to get this story started, let me take you home to Morgan County, Tennessee, the home of these three guys who just have the same love and dream of professional wrestling. But first, let's get started on telling you about the brothers. Zach and Dylan Stewart, also known as the Stew Crew. From Cofield, the two brothers grew up loving football and pro wrestling, even having success at football, with Zach not only winning Mr. Football, but also to sign a Division I scholarship with the University of Tennessee. And Dylan, being a 4-year starter at Cofield, not only earning all-district, all-region, but also all-state honors as well. But both brothers knew that wrestling was in their future. So much so that in 2016, with the help of their dad, Papa Stu, buying their own wrestling ring, and then begun self-training themselves for the next couple years until August of 2020, when they enrolled in the Jacobs and Pritchard Wrestling Academy and got trained by Dr. Tom Pritchard and Glenn Jacobs, also known as Kane. And in November of 2020, the Stewart brothers became trained professional wrestlers when they graduated. But during that time, the Stew Crew would cross paths with yours truly, Spanky. One day at Petros Joiner School, where both I and Zach worked, I walked into that classroom one day and started talking to Zach about pro wrestling. And you know what? They say the rest is history, because that is where our friendship started. Now there's me, Spanky. Growing up in Wartburg, I had a very good childhood. At the age of 9, I fell in love with wrestling and was basically the only kid, besides a few of my buddies, who we would watch wrestling and make wrestling videos and upload them to YouTube. Our company name was STW Wrestling. Then, in high school, I played football at Wartburg with not much success, unlike Zach and Dylan, of course. But after my playing days, I decided to get into coaching. And that led me to here, Petros Joiner, where I met a very tall man who also liked wrestling, and me and him became friends. And I thought, wow, I actually have friends who love wrestling as much as I do. In February at SPCW, the Stew Crew would have their first ever match for the promotion, going up against the Heat Seekers. There was I, sitting front row that night, and would be at every SPCW show, being the most loud and obnoxious and over-the-top fan in the building. Then, SPCW decided to do a Facebook Manager Challenge, where you send in a video and you could be a manager for one night. After that night, I had my foot in the wrestling business. So after a couple months of being at commentary and being in the business, I wanted to hold a wrestling event for my school, Petros Joiner. So, with the help of Joe Kazana Promotions, we had our first event, Morgan County Mayhem. But Joe asked me if I'd be interested in being in the main event Battle Royal. I gladly accepted, but was nervous since I have not trained to be a wrestler. So I made a phone call to my two new friends, the Stew Crew. After weeks of training in Papa Stew's dungeon, it was now time for the event. Earlier in the show, I watched Zach and Dylan take down that damn Danny Vegas and Viva Los Almas, who have been a thorn in our side ever since we started in this business. The time is here, hearing that opening to Lincoln Park's paper cut as my music played, and I made my way to the ring. This boy's dream from Wartburg, Tennessee, who at the age of 9 all he wanted to do was wrestle, came true. I was just out there living the moment, basking it all in. Then the match started. Danny Vegas gave me a couple chops, but I gave him a stunner for his troubles, as also thrown him over the top rope to eliminate him. Then it was down to me and Jerry Sampson, as I thrown him over the top rope to win the Battle Royal. I was on cloud 9. I was on top of the world. I thought I was basically unstoppable and indestructible and simply irresistible. But not only what made that night so special is at the end of it all, my two best friends came down to the ring to celebrate with me. After this show, everyone wanted a piece of the Spank. I was even asked to come to Ricky Morton's School of Morton to be a manager for a 5-star athlete named Brandon Moore. But I told Joe I want another wrestling show at Petros. But this time, I want my hands on Danny Vegas and Viva Las Almas. So it was official. The Stu and Spank connection would be going up against Viva Las Almas. The SSC is here. I had all this fame. I had everything going for me. I had a new girlfriend. I had people loving me. I had slam buddies. I had it all. So I didn't think I had to train. But my two friends tried to warn me about how dangerous this business can be and how dangerous Danny Vegas and the Amish can be. But I just simply wouldn't listen to them because I just thought I was the best thing going. But the night started off when I came out to kick off the show and let the crowd bask in my glory. But Danny Vegas and the Amish had other plans. As we was out there, the big boy Amish clocked me with a big forearm, which I can still feel to this day. Then they decided to kick on me, stomp on me, then kicked me right out of the ring, where I fell to the floor. Then they decided to rip off my $600 jacket, which is a very nice jacket. Then they decided to throw me up against the steel post, where my head bounced off the floor. Luckily, it did not hit the metal post. It was the floor that gave me a concussion. But luckily, here comes my friends, Zach and Dylan, who always have my back. But as Phil started to take me to the ER, I realized I can't leave my friends here high and dry. So I came back, and I came through that back door as I listened to that crowd just erupt. Even though I may have seemed fine, I was not fine. I had a serious concussion from bouncing off that floor, but I didn't care. But as the match started, the Heat Seekers decided to come out and stick their nose in our business, taking out my two best friends, basically my bodyguards, Silverback Zach and Twisted Steel Deal, basically leaving me all by myself. But I took my eye off the prize and got clocked in the head with a butter churn. Next thing I know, I remember hearing the ref, 1, 2, 3, and hearing that bell ring. There was a silence over the crowd. They were in shock. Next thing I know, I'm hearing boos, seeing KFC buckets rain down in the ring. Got hit in the head with a piece of chicken. I was embarrassed. I was at my lowest. I was at the bottom of the world. They embarrassed me by breaking my arm, basically, and just not only destroying me physically, but mentally and emotionally. And, sometimes I wonder, is this for me? This ride we've been on, it's been one to say the least. Like, I'm just in awe. I just want to thank everyone who's not only purchased the ticket or buy popcorn or buy whatever, buy merch, buy Slam Buddies, buy shirts. I want to thank everybody because not only did y'all show up not at one show, you showed up at another. And, who would have thought in a million years that this guy right here would be not only putting on a wrestling show, but wrestling in a wrestling show. I know I'd never thought it, but I've realized that it's not for me. Not only have I let my friends down, I've let you people down, but at the end of the day, I've let myself down. Because, I thought I was bigger than what I was. I thought I was this just unstoppable monster. I'm not. I'm just a kid from Whopper, Tennessee that had a dream. But it turns out that dream ain't good enough. So, I think it's time that I just step away. I think it's time that I just step away from the wrestling business as a whole. Whoa, boys.